I'm Andy Westervelt, Training Coordinator at Frito-Lay's Casa Grande plant. The tape you're about to view was produced at the Frito-Lay facility during the first phase of training in June of 1984. This is a condensed look at the first week of training and depicts the process that was used to transfer knowledge about the Casa Grande plant to the new members. The Casa Grande plant is Frito-Lay's first attempt at a team-based organization that utilizes the whole job or technician concept. For this reason, traditional methods of training were not felt applicable, and what was developed for training is what will follow.
We're the ever-readies, and what we're going to go through is our learning process and what we have learned. And what this is right here is we started out with the present state, we made a transition right here, and that was the future state that we ended up. Through each task, the future state where we ended up being the present state for the next task. And it just kept on going and going and going and going and going. In the beginning, there were 11 nervous individuals. Individuals wanting to learn how to function as a team. Through trial and error, we realized the need for the following learnings, yet they still had to be, or rather, they still had not been mastered. We learned the need to use tools and resources, learned the need to define a problem, learned the need to organize and find a solution, we realized the importance for feedback on a solution, and we also learned to be flexible when dealing with others' values and opinions, to listen and understand, to cope with different opinions, and to arrive at consensus in spite of differing values. We began applying these learnings to our technical systems task for determining the who's, what's, and why's. Not only did we learn the basics of the ETS, but we also learned the basics of the other conversion units from team presentations. Another piece of information. Basic training is not too long to accomplish the purpose, yet not too short. We feel it's just the right time to allow us to get in here, understand these skills, develop them a little bit, and then go out to the plant. We feel this type of training is essential to adapt to the team concept. We didn't understand how to function as a team coming from conventional chain of command. I think most of us came in here, this was a totally new concept because we're usually regularly taking orders from somebody else. So this was all new, and this type of training is essential to understand what the team concept is. More time to work on the personal feedback tasks to fully allow for all feedback desired. We kind of ran short because everybody didn't get to ask everybody else why they rated them yesterday on the feedback. So I thought maybe a little bit more time for that. This is not a corkscrew. What this is the same thing that was at the front, came from our present state, we went through here, our team process, and we came out with the future state. These two right here is the same thing. Where this left off, this picked up. We went through another team process, and we came in, it just keeps on going. We looked for a leader, and we found a team.
Oh, a package of Clover Club potatoes. Can't wait to taste what this is like. Oh, yuck. Where's the dip? Here we are.
Here's the bit.
Oh, please. This just doesn't do it. Billy, why waste your time on your dip? Have Fritos. Yeah. Get rid of those Clover Clubs for sure. Fantastic. What a delicious taste.
Organize, respect other values and needs, to use our time productively, take nothing for granted, test our boundaries, to ask questions, don't rely solely on resources, to give and receive feedback, be flexible, to participate, how to use a facilitator, difference between feedback, confrontation, and criticism, to listen to others, to cope with stress, to compromise, keep open minds to new ideas and concepts, to use a corkscrew, number one. Basic knowledge of production lines.
They were all very impressed with the computerized system that they had out there mind-boggling to me. I was kind of looking forward, I know everybody's looking forward to seeing these things in action, you know, seeing them move around. And the engineering that went into the design of each conversion unit. When I was in the plant, I was really impressed about how everything was laid out, the flow of the product, everything. It was very impressive to me. All the way from the continuous product oven down to the computerized weight scale system that made the bag go down 1 gram, how it was going to save money. I was very impressed by, you know, this high technological advancement. The only thing that was hard for me to understand after going through the potato chip conversion unit, it was hard for me to believe that we need a plant that costs $34 million, 110,000 square feet, 11 acres under roof, to produce a simple chip. Everybody knows anybody can produce a chip. You know, a cow can produce a chip. Chip. But it's going to take Frito-Lay at the Casa Grande.
We'll give you information. If you listen, it's going to go, you know, in the brain box. Get good information. Team comprehension, new job understanding, where the good pokey tongue bars are at. If you just don't listen, and you only hear, you don't listen, it's just going to shoot right through it. You're going to basic. Thank you.
We learned that Frito-Lay has an interest in our personal growth. What we mean by that, the benefits they offer, the training. We know that it costs Frito-Lay a lot of money in the training that they provided for us to go to this team concept. The team concept where all of us learn that we all have a voice in the decision making.
And finally, after 7 days, my team members finally found out that my name is not Lena, Lana, Luina, Lorna, it's Lona.
We also learned that when we realize that confrontation should be viewed as being constructive, that we can turn all that confrontation into something good and some good outcome.
We also found that the only wrong ideas were not brought out. For example, if Edison wouldn't have invented electricity, this company might not even be here.
Okay, well, we shared just a few of our learnings. Now this is our final product.
Wholesome and healthy and makes a good quality of work life. Just an excellent place to work. So this group here, you guys, all of us, I think there are about 65 or 70 of us all together, the nucleus of the beginning to make the success that we want in this side of the country is you'll find that we will be the best in safety, we'll be the best in quality of the product we produce, we'll be the best in service, we'll be the best in cost. And again, in a few months, and certainly by the end of this first year, we'll go back and kind of measure that, and we'll be able to tell if in fact we are the best. Our goal is to ever lose. The reason we're in business, of course, is to make a profit. Frito-Lay, any other company, to make profit. But the way we're going to make our profit here in Casa Grande is through people, producing, return on Frito-Lay's investment through teamwork. Profit. Exactly the way we expect to do it. Important words here are people, which is this entire group,
yourself,
and teamwork.
into a high-performing team. Your purpose is to acquire the kinds of knowledge and skills outlined in what we just went over. What makes a high-performing team? And by the end of this task, you should have accomplished the following. First thing you want to do is make sure that all the members within your team have a clear understanding of the team's purpose and objectives. You need to have a set of objectives that reflect all team members' beliefs. Have developed the commitment needed to ensure that you do achieve these objectives. Have a general plan for consolidating your learnings from this phase of learning.
This has all been learned this morning. First off, our purpose was to learn how to function as a team. That was kind of hard because when we first got in there, working as a team was supposed to come naturally. Obviously, it didn't to us. Secondly, the objectives. To fulfill this purpose up here, we kind of let them cover themselves for cooperation, dependability, commitment, positive work environment, and communication. Cooperation, that is you're interacting with each other, being able to work with each other, easy with each other, not having any kind of conflict. Dependability, being able to depend on yourself and your coworker, knowing that you're going to be able to do your... Which group? Where's...
I feel that Where's the Dip was number one.
Is that the group where it's at?
How did you guess? Okay, Tortilla Flats, number two.
Honesty, fine.
The reason I felt that Tortilla Flats was number two, because they had a good speaker and they had it pretty well organized. The Ever Readies we felt was number three. They were to the point and they added some humor into it. Number four we felt was the Old Turf Bandits. We felt that they didn't follow up on the subject, they jumped around a little bit. Number five, a little critique here. The Frito High Performers.
During the first task, the teams were each asked to come up with a name for themselves. This was done to allow the teams to start to build some unity, some team cohesion at this point. Also, another way in which we attempted to build a little more team unity was by providing some feedback for each team. This was done through the use of a forced ranking system.
Your task is to increase your understanding of the plant's purpose and objectives, as well as the rationale.
And have a knowledge of what to do and have less downtime. In other words, when something goes wrong, we're able to fix it and get right back to full production. Five, what is the company going to do to increase personal growth and cause an increase in participation of its employees? Well, they're going to have ongoing training for us employees. The structure of the organization is going to cause us to have to get up here and give talks. You know, we're not going to give a presentation, so we're going to be automatically forced to get involved. We're going to have to build participation by having to write a 6-month contract for yourself. Where do I want to be 6 months from now? A goal setting. And we're going to be forced to attain those goals to an extent. In other words, if we're not progressing, we might be finding our way out the door. The sixth thing was the method that will be used to inform employees on matters affecting them. We come to an understanding that in the morning before you go on your shift, you will have a 30-minute time to plan, maybe critique your performance as a group. Be informed of the things that are going on within the plant, and get new literature that's coming out, new ways of doing things. Maybe some advice from the engineers on what changes are going to come about. Okay, we had a question on how important are the employees and as individuals in the company. We need to know this on company-employee relationship. How important are you? Well, we know that we're really important because they're spending all this time in training us before we ever go out on the production floor. Where they're training us in both in self-management skills and in self-motivation skills. Anything else?
I was trying to see how this related to working here and how I would feel if I came here just as an individual and was put into doing all this by myself, being taken into the plant and saying, okay, this is what you're going to work at. And just being doing it all by myself instead of having a team to help me along with it. It's made me more comfortable knowing that there's 9 other people right here with me, helping me along and making it easier. The transition is much easier, and hopefully when we get into the plant it'll be the same thing.
Exactly. How do you feel today compared to yesterday?
Yeah, again, you know, we came in yesterday and we were put into a room to express ideas, and we were still nervous because we still had a lot of answers, questions that weren't answered, and it's just made it all easier in the team concept.
Of the Casa Grande family, we as a group right now have in our grasp the ability to ensure that we have a properly maintained plan, you know, in regards to ideology and culture. What we do here as a group over the next 6 to 8 weeks, over the next year, will have lasting impact over the next 30 or 40 years. Team learning assignment for this particular task is to identify the ideal working environment, and that's based on where you have worked at in the past and how you would like Casa Grande plant to be. Number 2, have a clear understanding of the Casa Grande plant philosophy. And number 3, each individual team member needs.
Areas of concern is 1, satisfaction, 2, job security, 3, more interesting, challenging work, 4, sharing of profits, 5, opportunity for advancement, 6, comfortable environment, 7, recognition, 8, feedback or complaints, 9, cooperative team members, 10, common goals for the good of the company, and the one that we thought was the best. Number 11, pride in what you're doing as if the company was your own.
And part of tomorrow morning to talk about social processes, especially how we solve problems as a group. Boy, it's hard to talk with this thing. Hope this thing comes off. I can see going home and my wife says, "Now, where were you?" Did I tell a dirty joke? We think the good group. We all develop very useful problem-solving techniques. A lot of these techniques we use for survival. But what we want to concentrate on this afternoon is group problem solving. Within your teams, you will undergo an exercise that your resource person will give to you once you're back in your room, so that you can watch yourself go through a problem solving process.
Learn the lessons and myths. To set guidelines to help the team in solving future problems. Our learnings. Don't take anything for granted. Danny, wherever he is. We didn't ask, how many minutes we had. I think we had about 8 or 9 minutes. And then we were stopped. We should have asked you, first of all, how much time do we have? Then we went on, when we got our semicircle, we come up next on explain that. Next, learn, set purpose and objectives. Ask questions, which we sent out there off the bat. Next, gather all pertinent information. Consolidate all usable information. From information gathered, determine the specific problem. Also determine and implement the best solution. Then we develop our general plan. Determine the purpose and objective. Set your agenda to better utilize your time. Follow your guidelines, that's what we should have done first. Stay on the right track, probably you ran over by a train.
Decision
part of the social process, which you all remember links people with people and tasks for the best interests of the organization and the individual. And group decision making is an integral part of the social process. I'd like to ask Jim to present the results of the survey that we all took yesterday with
and I won't read that, is that it's something that it's worked on together, that you have had some influence on, and that you can support, even though it may not be.
Objectives to the cave rescue exercise is to examine the impact of values, attitudes on group decision making, to study the decision making procedures, and to practice intensive.
What happened, because we took all our time trying to figure out who to save, the poor people all drowned in that little hole in the ground. We did not reach a decision. We couldn't get together. We didn't pool our resources, and we didn't stick to our game plan. We spent time discussing, and we had no action. If we would have got right down to it and pulled them out of the ground instead of spending our time deciding which one to save, they all went to pit to death.
First differences came into play a lot. And of course, different cultures was a main thing, and we ignored the facts, even though it was hard to determine facts versus values. Without first, we might claim the little guide.
What we learned as a group, no two members in our group has the same values. We all picked the people the way we wanted to, not the way other people thought. We all found out you have to make decisions on more than just values. You got to consider the whole aspect of the problem. You just can't go by what you feel inside. You got to focus on the purpose and objective and not get sidetracked on who wants the people to save. By concentrating on that, we let them all fight the job, like you say. We should have stuck to the plan. We should have made our list. The objective was to save them. We should have stuck to that and got them out of the ground in the time we were allowed. And under pressure, we all found out that we couldn't make a decision under pressure. We just didn't want to take the responsibility.
Okay, on learning, we continue to improve our team organization by getting more involved, listening to everybody's thought that they had on the task that we were given.
We stopped and regrouped a couple of times. We got a hand, yelled at each other, we broke paper at each other. We stopped and we say, hey, wait a minute. Getting off focus, let's get back together and talk about it again. So that's what we did here.
And stay on focus. Like he says, we got off on different tracks. We start talking about this, we have to start on this. So learn to stay on focus.
We have individual values, but we still can function as a team, which is important. We all have individual values, but as a team, I think these individual values will help us in the long run. So we can come together.
A couple minutes of airtime. I've lived or been in so-called team-based systems for the last 12 to 15 years. And some of the learnings that came out of today, I think, will do you a lot of good for a long time. And one of them particularly from the group back here in the corner that talked about this issue where one person disagreed based on a value difference. And they somewhat brought themselves together, but one of the risks of a team-based organization is you get into what sometimes called the tyranny of the group. That's where a group actually becomes a tyrant in dealing with an individual member that has a different belief or a different value or something like that. So I really hope you listen to this group's presentation and remember that that is a risk of going this route, of having the so-called team-based structure. And the other particular thing that Wally mentioned Monday or Tuesday, I forgot, last month, is the notion in a multicultural organization, just for the fact it's multicultural, you do have significant differences in values. Because each culture, each of us come from different cultures. I come from Texas. That's a very different culture in some ways. Well, the people, yes, but also came out of Texas as a white male. So that gives me certain sets of values that are going to be different from other people's values. And just kind of one of the givens, since not everybody here is all the same sex, the same race, the same background, and you got a very significant difference in value within the group. And one of the reasons for thinking about your dealing with this early is that early on, see if you can have time to start figuring out how can you do it.
They got questions on it, because the next task is looking at builds on what you've done this morning and what you've looked at in the tour. So kind of be relating this, what you did this morning to what you could do this afternoon, because there certainly is a recommendation. What this task is going to do is going to take the information that you've all gathered this morning by going through the plan and kind of isolate it a little bit. What you did was you walked through the entire plan with the resource and kind of got an overall picture of what the entire operation is going to be like. What we'd like to do now is to kind of take that wide scope and sort of narrow it a little bit into each of a number of conversion units, and I'll define that term a little bit. That being people that are involved with a particular process. It's not necessarily the conversion unit which you're going to see when the plant starts up. What we've tried to do is divide the plant process into 7 conversion units. Each of you will have one. In one group, we have combined 2 units together. Okay. These conversion units are involved with taking a certain input and massaging it in some way and creating an output which goes on to another conversion unit. And that is the second part of the technical system task. Our hypothesis is that a team's ability to make effective operational decisions and achieve the organization's purpose and objectives is influenced by 1, each member's understanding of the conversion process. And again, the conversion process means taking an input, doing something to it, and creating an output. And 2, the ability of each member to understand the relationship between each conversion process and its effect on the overall plant goals. In other words, obviously there is an impact between one conversion unit and the other conversion unit. And as a group, you need to be looking at how each of those units works together and acts as one team. All right, our objectives. Know the 7 conversion units, which we will, because everyone else is different, we'll know after everyone's finished. Next, identify the equipment and its function related to the tortilla chip line. Know the steps involved between input and output. Understand the relationship between the conversion units.
Okay. It goes into the point silos, and from there it's fed into the Carter Day cleaner, where it gets rid of corn husks, dirt, rodent droppings, human droppings, fine dust, and it gets rid of the over and undersized corn.
From the shaker to the weight, from there going to the shaker to a weight hopper for surface storage, so the Carter Day cleaner is not in constant use.
Okay, next. A bucket elevator carries a bucket elevator carries it to the corn cooking room, where it is cooked at approximately 20 to 25 minutes at 188 degrees to 195 degrees.
Next, the corn goes to a quench tank, where it mixes with cool water to bring the temperature down so it's not so hot.
Then it goes to the sequential soak tank, where it is soaked for 12 hours to soften the dust. It also allows the temperature.
Engineering and technical services. And there was 6 of them. HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. B, wastewater. C, maintenance and part storage. D, the boiler. E, air compressor, and F, fire.
There's nothing rising that burns whatever's in there, so it's critical to have the surge hopper kept full of potatoes. Okay, the potatoes are then fed onto 2 slicers feeding belts. Okay, and then they're separated again off of these 2 belts. Then it goes into your 4 slicer heads.
Okay, these slicer heads, the blades on, they gotta be changed approximately every hour to keep the uniform size of the potato chips coming from the raw potatoes. And they've got the different size blades and things, different cuts for the ruffles, the lays, and the old graded potatoes. Then they drop down into a speed washer with a defoaming agent to hold down the starch content. So all this defominating is just what it says. It holds down the starch agent to keep it from foaming when it hits the hot fire. And it keeps the chips separated whenever they go into the oil. Okay, and the output of it is the starch from the defoaming agent. On a conveyor belt, the moisture and slivers are removed by an air knife.
Our objectives are to identify the major equipment and its functions, and to know the sequence of flow within the warehouse, and to know the input and outputs of our units.
Hey, the major equipment that we found inside the warehouse was our conveyor system. The function of those conveyor systems were for the storage and distribution. We had a little bit of input on the, approximately they had 1,000 foot of belt inside the conveyor, inside the warehouse area itself. They've got metal detectors on the belt and scanners to determine where the boxes go to. We've actually got the palletizer loop. This functions of the palletizer product. These products, the boxes then are stacked after they come into the palletizer. They're stacked on pallets by a technician. There's somebody there lifting the boxes on. Next, we've got the robo carrier, SKL. Okay, we named it the mobile product carrier.
System flow, the flow chart, showing that our input comes from the case from the packaging department. We go into the main conveyor, and in the main conveyor, one of those scanners or the light sensors that he was talking about asks the question, is looking for metal. And if metal is detected, it goes over to the pick belt or the belt line, which is actually double. It has two purposes, not only for special orders, but also for problem orders. So it goes over to the pick belt, and then it is sent back through the detector again, and is asked again if it has any.
Organizations need to maintain a good fit with their environment in order to assure acceptance of their products, availability of material, financial, informational, and human resources, and freedom from invasion that would have a negative effect on their performance. Any questions about that policy? The task and objective today is foremost to determine if there is a good fit between your team's purposes, objectives, and demands, and the needs, wants, and expectations.
Hi. As you recall, I'm Linda with Where's the Dip? Okay? We all wanted to give this presentation, but we came to a team decision. That it would be Fred and I. Tab 7 is managing environmental boundaries. Our purpose was to ensure flexibility and adaptability between Where's the Dip and its environment. Our objectives is 1, list the main sources of demands and stresses on the team. 2, maintain team compatibility by determining how the team is responding to these external demands. 3, implement positive changes where necessary. 4, feedback.
These are demands and stresses, how the team is responding. First, facilities. Safety of unfinished buildings. We're adapting by wearing hard hats in the first place. Eating in the bullpen instead of eating in the cafeteria, that's part of that. And also, we're adapting by, we were freezing in Wally's office. Doing this.
We went back in there and felt that since we are the Orthopedidos, we are the team, and these are our external environments surrounding us. There's the other team, the you people, there's the staff, plant, family, and community. Okay, some of the key demands that were made on us, as a team by ourselves, the Orthopedidos, we felt that demands were cooperation, flexibility within our team, respect the feelings of others, we have to listen to each other, We have to have equal participation, and we have to learn to use our resources.
From other teams, we expect quality presentations, feedback, respect, attention, to learn from our presentations, flexibility, and try to see their point of view.
Okay, from the staff, we felt that they're demanding from us as far as work as a high-performance team. They're demanding from us to give presentations. We have to learn to manage our time. They're demanding that we learn new concepts and ideas which are hard for all of us.
Concerns about shifts. A lot of times if you're just a single or just got married, something like that, you have to work. A lot of times they call graveyard shift, C shift. Your wife's home by herself. A lot of concerns about that. Don't want to stay home by herself. Maybe, maybe not. Presentation. The company expects us to be ideal citizens. Going out, you don't go out and get drunk at a bar, cause a fight, and next morning be able to headlines across the paper. Joe Smo works at Frito-Lay.
Get in the feedback mechanism. Utilize all our learning. Every time when everyone does their learning, just to really listen to them and see if, like we have been, pretty much all been learning the same thing. Okay, maintain an open atmosphere. Solicit individual feedback. Talk to individuals in the group, how they felt our presentation was, how informative it was. Solicit constructive criticism. Use the corkscrew, which we've been using the last few times. It's really helped us keep on track and keep our focus together. Solicit feedback on our task rating. We have a...
As you're trying to find out what the structure of the plan is, what are the units, what are the teams, what do they do? Moving down to the task outcomes. I'd like you to be able to identify the future state and the startup state structure for the plant and for the department that you're going to search out. Also, the purpose and objectives of the plant and again of the department that you're going to be working with. Find out if there are any boundaries within that department, teams, how many teams, one team, two teams, those type questions, and find out what things that those teams will be doing, what tasks will they be doing. Find out what the information and decision-making system is for that unit, and find out, again, what the people systems of that unit are like.
For startup, procedures, gather information for the future. Okay, also to learn about transition state, establish boundaries of the peace of mind. Also, objective is to know makeup of information and decision-making process. Another objective is clarification of tasks and to know purpose and objectives of the plan.
First of all, we'll deal with the startup. We know that we're going to have one shift, and it is going to start up August 6, 1984. In the PC department, that's potato chip department. Two departments, one's processing and one's packaging, and West Josh will run processing, and Sandy Andrews will run packaging. Processing will have approximately 12 to 13 employees, and they'll all be full-time. We'll have, in packaging, we'll have 8 full-time and approximately 10 part-time employees. And there's a reasoning behind that. It was all explained to us, but it's fairly detailed, so I really won't go into it right now if I say so. And by transition, we mean that anything that's going to take you out of your normal realm of doing things. And there's a lot of transition involved in this process here. And one of the transitions will be from shifts. We're going to transition from 1 to 2 shifts and possibly 3 shifts. No, so at any time you can be asked to move into a different time span. You will have to adjust your family life or whatever accordingly. There'll be a transition from one task to multiple core tasks. You'll be asked, a core task is anything that is required everybody's going to learn them. They're going to be the basic tasks, and then you'll have your specialty tasks to go along with that. But you'll be asked to, get a little serious there. But you'll move from core tasks to specialty tasks, and you'll know at least one specialty task. That'll be anything like maintenance, anything that's required that gets away from the common ordinary flow of things.
And our learnings from this was follow the format and receiving feedback, because it said that in the format that we weren't supposed to put input back into what we were saying, but in our group we didn't do that. We were doing both. The person was telling them, telling them what their problem was, and then giving feedback back and forth. And we should have done that.
The reason we did it too is because one member of our team dropped out. And she was really offended by all this. And so we felt that we had to bring this person back into our team, that we just couldn't just let her sit there. So that's why we did it that way.
Our purpose is to give and receive constructive feedback. Our objective, to learn how to give and receive feedback, how to accept criticism, and how to give it with tact. We came about this by using the corkscrew method. We individually rated other members and listed ratings on the chart. And there's the chart. Just don't get Leon up here. He's faster than I am. What happened? We got feedback. Lots of it. We discussed the feedback, and I fell into a pothole. We had fun doing it. This is the best exercise that we've had. Our team, everybody just loved it, except for me. Why? The team wanted to improve on themselves. We wanted positive and negative feedback. I had a big mouth. And our learnings, to accept criticism without hard feelings, to give criticism in a tactful manner, how well we work as a team. We all have fears and shortcomings, and if you put somebody down, if anybody don't know what criticism is, that's put somebody down. We got to help bring them back up, so we got to give good criticism along with everything else. We learned what our strong and weak points are. We learned that Doug really is a father. We learned that we should get team opinion instead of individual.
At least in my mind, it gave me a lot of problem because it limited me so much in the areas of like positive feedback. And I walk up to Bob and say, hey Bob, you're doing a really good job. If he doesn't ask for it, how do I gauge, or if I see he's having a problem that I could help him with, how do I make him realize that I can help him, without, it just seems like really limiting you from the feedback that would help him. See what I'm saying?
Yes. Would anyone like to respond? Chris?
Perhaps that might be covered under confrontation, because a confrontation is where perhaps you can change someone's ways or his values. And I know there's a fine line between feedback and a fine, that and a confrontation. Because if you're going to go up and you have something you think possibly will help someone, if you're going to help him, you're going to change something with him. So possibly that could be classified as a confrontation, and you use your confrontation.
The purpose of this task was to develop a plan to create a safe working environment. One of the objectives was to identify key factors that lead to safety awareness, and the other one was developing a plan for it and implementing the plan. For the safety plan, we had broken up into a few categories here. Safety awareness and prevention. We figured we should have safety meetings like everybody else. I'm sure everybody's worked in environments where they've had weekly safety meetings. Some of these safety meetings could point out the proper way to use the equipment that you're working. Every week you can work on a different piece of equipment. Get everybody to be very safety conscious about it. We're thinking that informative signs would be a great help as far as tripping hazards and stuff like that. Maybe putting something out there to make sure that when you come into the plant, that you can see things that might happen to you during the course of work. Safety booklet, maybe putting all the machines together or something like that, so that everybody could have a general idea of that. In summary, most accidents can be prevented through safety awareness, prevention, and common sense. One that I didn't hear too many people hit on. Common sense is a big one as far as safety. Everybody has common sense, let's use it a little bit, and next thing will work out a lot safer.
We didn't hear you.
Run that by.
Please repeat what you said, ma'am.
What I'd like to do is for you to help me identify the follow-up steps that we need to incorporate this information.
Bring up is instead of like a safety team, maybe to start out we're going to need some kind of safety team, people with previous experience. But as you get into it, if you had a safety team, there might be a couple of key members not there some night. And I think everybody needs to be aware of certain first aid procedures and what to do.
This is the manager of Casa Grande plant. Why aren't you people at work? Why aren't you asking me any questions? Aren't you confused about anything? How do you people do your tasks without me? You have not asked me any questions all week. Why have you solved your own problems? I want to solve your problems. Leave them to me. Why are you leaving me out? I'm the boss. I look like you're doing better without me. What is this, some type of high-performance system or something?
Figure out who that voice is. Well, for the learning, I shouldn't give you the learning yet. The thing you've been experiencing here is what's called a managerial process versus a voice or a manager. Managerial processes must be established that provide the organization with a sense of purposefulness and direction. The managerial processes are needed for a balance between individual needs, social processes, production processes, and external environment. Managerial process. How did your team and yourself, how did you keep your focus on its purpose and objective? How did you manage the fit between the individual, the social, production, and environment? Also, if you feel that you have to make any changes at this time, so the change to come in is zero.
I let work every day for 3 weeks.
No breaks, no breaks, no input, no nothing, no feedback. No candy work at all. I mean, we just work overtime all the time. No get paid a lousy day off.
Hey guys, guess what?
What?
You've been hired for free-to-lay.
Great! Boy, are we glad we broke the chains and joined Frito-Lay! All right!
Objective 5 is to compare and contrast. Chain of command versus a team concept. The chain of command, no participation in decisions. Dictatorship. Dominant structure. No way of changing system. No feedback. Team concept, participation in decisions, teamwork, cooperation, no boundaries, adaptable and flexible, and feedback.
Higher input delivers higher output. 1 + 1 does, in fact, equal a high-performance team. To cooperate more with each task given as a team, we found that as we've worked through these, it has become easier each time to give input, to talk with each other, to be more open. Everyone has become much more comfortable. Focus completely on the task. That's been one of the most difficult ones. It's hard to stay online the whole time. Doing this task as we understood it, which I think it's been one of the things that we have found as a team when we come in and review and see everyone else's. Everyone has a little bit different idea of what actually the task is. Not that we don't learn from each, but as we understood this task, we were very comfortable because the total team participation, this was really one of the best exercises that we had done. It's that we feel is the concept of a high-performance team. We have a visual this time. One of our people got artistic with what we feel is spread back. You can draw your own conclusions.
To kind of sum this all up, we drew up a model, and maybe you've seen this before, hopefully I'm just trying to learn it. For the benefit of those in the back, to explain a little bit about this model, this is a high-performance system model that we drew up. In the center here we have an internal environment. The outside we have the external environment. In here in this fit, in our teams, we have like the philosophies of renewal and reward system, structure system, people. So you've got to have people, information, and decision. And outside of that, we have those boundaries that are kind of flexible, these dotted lines in the internal environment. We have business, environmental, and individual needs, tasks, techniques, and projects that are coming into this fit. And then the purpose, the objectives, and the goals of the fit. And then down below here we had like demands, we had family and community demands, the staff and the managers, of course they have demands. And then of course finally, last, we have the external feedback, which is what we all need from these outputs that we get.
Okay. By evaluating and summarizing our learnings, we reached our goal by blowing the top right off the thermometer. Okay? Not only us, but everybody has become Frito-Lay high-performance teams.
We had a great time participating and having fun with the ball. And we'd like to know, did you all learn our spirit and our learnings from our team?
Yes.
Right back there on the table.
Who's got your ranking sheet? No. I think the products were all outstanding. I think the staff, I think I can speak for them, saying that we've been through this, and it's exciting to see another group go through it and see the outcomes.
What you have just seen are some of the highlights from the first 6 days of the training program at the Casa Grande plant. The technicians were introduced to the basic concepts of organizational design, plant structure, interpersonal skills, the social processes, the technical system, and the managerial processes as they relate to their new work environment. The training was structured so that the technicians immediately began to work in teams and accomplish tasks in the same fashions that they will be asked to during actual operation. The positive response to this format, the participation achieved, and most importantly, the number of learnings that were generated, indicate that knowledge can be transferred in many ways.